Despite what your hairdresser and people that don't know what the heck they're talking about will tell you, qualifying for a mortgage is not as difficult as you might think. So don't listen to people that may mean well but have no idea what they're talking about. Don't rule yourself out. You can get a mortgage. So yeah, as I said, you can get a mortgage. Don't listen to your hairdresser. Don't listen to people who want to give you advice and they're not qualified professionals. So you should listen when I tell you you can get a mortgage. The main reason why most people think that they can't get a mortgage is potentially because of their credit. So they think they have bad credit, therefore they cannot get a mortgage. But that's why specialist lenders exist. Specialist lenders are lenders who will lend to people who have had missed payments, late payments, CCJs. I've even got specialist lenders that I work with that will work with someone who's had a repossession, meaning they've had a house in the past, that house got repossessed. So don't rule yourself out if you think that because of your credit status, you're unable to get a mortgage. So when you speak to your mortgage broker, just explain the situation that you're in, and they'll be able to match you with the right lender. There are specialist lenders that not only can help you if you have credit issues, but there's also main street lenders that will lend if you have a smaller deposit. And there are some schemes that can assist you with your deposit size. There are equity schemes where you can get an equity loan. So, like if you have a friend or a family member that is selling a property and they want to gift you some of that equity, they can gift you that equity towards your deposit. So, don't let the fact that you think you have a small deposit prevent you from speaking to a mortgage broker. And don't forget about things like right to buy. So if you're living in a council property and you meet the criteria, you can apply to purchase that council property. And you can use the discount that you're offered towards the deposit. I regularly do mortgages for people that are doing a council right to buy who use the full discount as their deposit. There's also shared ownership. Now, shared ownership is one of those things that some people love it and some people absolutely hate it. You do need to do your due diligence. You do need to do your research and make sure that you read everything thoroughly. But I know people that have used a shared ownership scheme to get themselves on the property ladder. Then they do something called staircasing. So they'll buy a small percentage of the property initially, what they can afford, what they can get a mortgage for. And in the passing of time, they'll staircase up. So what that means is that they'll purchase more of the percentage of the property, often until they get all the way up to 100%. So they do it in smaller chunks. So look into things like shared ownership. If you're living in a council property, you can look at the right to buy process. The other reason why people tend to rule themselves out of getting a mortgage, or they've told themselves that they can't get a mortgage, is because they have a non-UK passport. You can get a mortgage. Frequently, the reason why people think they can't get a mortgage is because they've been told that by people who don't know what they're talking about. So, the best advice that I can give you is always speak to a qualified mortgage broker. I'm not here to replace that conversation. I'm here to give you hope and let you know that if people have been telling you you can't get a mortgage, they're probably wrong. Now, the issue quite frequently isn't the fact that people can't get a mortgage. It's just that some people may not be able to get the mortgage for the amount that they want because they feel they have to buy above their budget. Speak to a broker. A broker will be able to talk you through the criteria, look at where you are, as well as explain how to get to where you want to be. Check your credit report. I have people that come to me, and when they start working with me, one of the first things that we do request from them is their credit report from checkmyfile.com. And when they get their credit report, they're like, wow, I thought my credit was a lot worse than that. Equally, some people come to me and say, wow, I thought my credit was a lot better than that. But check your credit report at least once a year. I'd recommend twice a year. Be flexible. Often people have ruled themselves out from getting a mortgage because they're just being inflexible. So if you're living in London and you're a first time buyer, maybe you don't have the income or don't have the deposit for a home in zone 1 or 2 or maybe even 3. You can look at different zones. You can look at schemes like shared ownership. So be flexible because more likely than not, if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, more likely than not, this is not your forever home. So you may need to do what your parents, your grandparents, and other people have done in the past. Buy a home that you can afford, that is within your budget, live there, let the equity build up, pay your mortgage on time, and then you can trade up. It's very rare that I speak to someone and I cannot get them a mortgage. It's very rare. Or no one can tell you where you should live. You have to decide that. But sometimes by being a little bit more flexible, thinking outside the box, understanding things like shared ownership and concessionary mortgages and right to buy, those things can open up other options that you may not have considered. So don't rule yourself out if you've told yourself that you can't get a mortgage. Instead, you need to speak to a mortgage broker. What do you do now? So you've heard this video, you've heard the information, and you've been telling yourself that you can't get a mortgage, and now maybe you think you can. So what you're going to need to do now is just book an appointment with me. What I'll do is a free affordability assessment. It's not a credit check and it's not an application. It's just a conversation where hopefully I can demystify the process of getting a mortgage. I can talk you through where you are and how to get to where you want to be. So I can give you a realistic view of how much you qualify for right now. It may be below your expectations. It may meet your expectations. Possibly it will exceed your expectations. But instead of guessing, listening to your barber or your hairdresser, you're getting the information from someone who now understands your circumstances and your goals. This information that I've shared is not to replace speaking to a professional. It's not financial advice, it's not legal advice, and it's not tax advice. It's just information on the questions that I get asked all the time and the answers that I share with my clients. You want keys to your very own home. You may have been telling yourself that that's impossible because you're listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. Always speak to a mortgage broker, and hopefully you found this information useful. If you have found this information useful, please, please, please share it with friends and family. Anyone you know that has been telling themselves that they can't get a mortgage, please share this video. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. As a really small channel, your subscription means a lot to me because it tells the YouTube algorithm that someone is listening and they find the information valuable and therefore want to get more.